Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Union Cabinet eases foreign direct investment norms in many sectors. 100% FDI allowed in single brand retail and construction. 49% investment by foreign airlines approved in Air India. India on the way to regaining fastest growing economy tag. World Bank projects growth rate at 7.3% in 2018 and 7.5% for the next 2 years. Praises Modi government for its ambitious and comprehensive reforms. Unique Identification Authority of India addresses privacy concerns, introduces virtual ID for Aadhaar card holders. New facility allows people to avoid sharing actual 12-digit biometric ID at the time of authentication. And South Korean President Moon Jae-in says he is ready for any form of meeting, including a summit with North Korea. International community welcomes agreement for Pyongyang to send athletes to the Winter Olympics in the South. Well, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday eased foreign direct investment norms in a number of sectors. It allowed 100% FDI in single brand retail and construction, while also approving 49% investment by foreign airlines in Air India under government approval route. The government says the move will provide ease of doing business in India. Opposition parties have questioned the government's intent. Here are the details.
The government has approved relaxation in FDI norms in various sectors. At a meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday, it allowed 100% foreign direct investment through the automatic route in single brand retail. The current policy allows FDI up to 49% under the automatic route. Beyond that, government approval is required. The cabinet also approved 100% overseas investment in the construction sector. The cabinet also allowed foreign airlines to invest up to 49% in Air India through approval route ahead of its proposed privatization. The government, however, said substantial ownership and effective control of Air India shall continue to be vested in Indian nationals. Existing rules allow foreign airlines to own as much as 49% in an Indian airline, with the exception of Air India. Air India had a total debt of about 48,877 crore rupees at the end of March 2017, of which 17,360 crore rupees were aircraft loans, while 31,517 crore rupees were working capital loans. The airline is expected to report a net loss of 3,579 crore rupees for 2017-18 as per budget estimates projected for 2017-18 from a provisional net loss of 3,643 crore rupees for 2016-17. Besides, the government also allowed FPIs and FIIs to invest in power exchanges through primary market. Earlier, FII-FPI purchases were restricted to secondary market only. Among other decisions, the cabinet clarified that real estate broking service did not amount to real estate business and is therefore eligible for 100% FDI under the automatic route. The government said these measures will liberalize and simplify the FDI policy in order to provide ease of doing business in the country. Opposition parties, however, criticized the government for relaxing FDI norms.
Earlier, it was up to 49% under automatic route, and beyond that through the approval route. So they have now made it automatic, but 100% was already there. Similarly, 100% in construction was already there. So minor change does not mean a major policy decision.
हमारे देश में खुदरा व्यापार क्षेत्र में कृषि के बाद सबसे ज़्यादा रोजगार पैदा करती है और विदेशी मल्टीनेशनल कंपनियों को यहाँ खुदरा व्यापार में प्रवेश करने से बहुत से छोटे दुकानदार और व्यापारियों का आजीविका खत्म हो जाएगा.
Besides the changes in the FDI policy, the cabinet also approved fixing the term for chairperson and members of the National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism and Other Disabilities for 3 years through a proposed amendment in the law. It also cleared a cadre review proposal of the Central Industrial Security Force by giving it 25 new posts. The move is aimed at enhancing the capabilities of the paramilitary force. With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, India is likely to regain the top position in 2018 with growth expected to accelerate to 7.3%. According to a World Bank report, the overall economic growth for 2017 will be 6.7% despite initial problems due to demonetization and the goods and services tax. The multilateral institution underscored that GST will benefit economic activity and fiscal sustainability.
India is on its feet to become world's fastest growing economy once again. According to the World Bank's 2018 Global Economic Prospects report, India's GDP will pick up to 7.3% in 2018-19 and 7.5% for the next 2 years. The report projected China's economy to further slow down to 6.4% in 2018 and 6.8% in 2017. The World Bank also predicted benefits down the road from GST. The report says over the medium term, the GST is expected to benefit economic activity and fiscal sustainability by reducing the cost of complying with multiple state tax systems, drawing informal activity into the formal sector and expanding the tax base. The report also pointed out that the government's recent recapitalization package for public sector banks is expected to resolve banking sector balance sheets, support credit to the private sector and lift investment. Another positive for India is that the global trade recovery is expected to lift exports.
The major thing at the moment is that they will have to push more private sector investment in the economy. All the investment that has so far been coming for the last 4.5 years is the public sector investment. The private sector is not investing at the moment, and even the capacity utilization is nearly around 70% in some of the sectors.
The Indian economy remains a bright spot in the global landscape. The IMF has also forecast a slightly high growth estimate of 7.4% for 2018 for India, while leading global financial services firm Morgan Stanley has projected a growth rate of 7.5% in 2018. The report also highlighted that Government of India unveiled various steps to improve business climate in India and also lowered restrictions on foreign direct investment in various sectors. It also accelerated investment in energy, transport and infrastructure. This has improved ease of doing business in India, and India has already leapt 30 spots to the 100th position in World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings. From Delhi, with camera person Prashanta, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday interacted with leading economists and experts from across the country at Niti Aayog. The select group of economists and sector experts were invited for deliberations with the Prime Minister on economic policy, the road ahead. The discussion focused on 6 broad themes of macroeconomic balances, agriculture and rural development, urban development, infrastructure and connectivity, employment, manufacturing and exports, and health and education. The meeting was attended by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari, along with the Vice Chairman and CEO of Niti Aayog and senior officials of the government. Well, in other news now, in a bid to address privacy concerns, the UIDAI has introduced a new concept of virtual ID. These IDs can be generated by Aadhaar card holders from the UIDAI website and given for various purposes along with their fingerprints. The virtual ID will give users the option of not sharing their 12-digit Aadhaar number at the time of authentication. The virtual ID would be a random 16-digit number and will give out just limited details like name, address and photograph, which are enough for any verification. A user can generate as many virtual IDs as they want, with the older ID getting automatically cancelled once a fresh one is generated. The virtual ID will be mapped to a person's Aadhaar number, and the Aadhaar issuing body will start accepting it from March 1st, 2018. From June 1st, it will be compulsory for all agencies that undertake authentication to accept the virtual ID from their users. Agencies that do not migrate to the new system to offer this additional option to their users by the stipulated deadline will face financial disincentives. Well, addressing the PIO Parliamentarian Conference, President Ramnath Kovind on Wednesday said that the Indian community settled abroad has climbed to appreciable heights and have contributed to their countries by enriching the economy. Kovind also termed PIO parliamentarians as living bridges since they play an important role in enhancing understanding between their countries and the country of their parents and ancestors. He added that the parliamentarians also help build economic people-to-people and strategic connections between the two countries.
The Indian diaspora has climbed to appreciable heights in almost all the countries where it has found a home. I have often said that the entire global community, that is the entirety of human civilization, if I could put it so, has a stake in the development of India. As PIO parliamentarians, as those in public life in our systems who have the best understanding of India, it is important for you to link your individual country's priorities to India's development and to see how these can intersect.
Well, the Supreme Court on Wednesday asked the centre to respond to a petition that questions prayer sung in Hindi during the morning assembly at the 1,125 Kendriya Vidyalaya schools across the country. The PIL questioned if public institutes could promote a particular religion and said the prayers should be discontinued since the schools are run by the government. The plea filed by Madhya Pradesh resident Vinayak Shah claimed that students, irrespective of their faith and belief, were asked to compulsorily recite a prayer based on the Hindu religion at the morning assembly. It also pleaded that the practice created obstacles in developing scientific temperament among students. Operational for nearly 50 years, the Kendriya Vidyalayas are central government schools. There are about 1,125 schools with a uniform curriculum and syllabus, which makes it one of the world's largest chain of schools. Well, moving on now, former Union Minister Arif Mohammad Khan has condemned the attitude of the opposition parties on the anti-triple talaq issue. In an interview to Rajya Sabha television, Arif Khan charged the opposition parties with changing their stand under pressure from the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. You can watch the entire interview on Rajya Sabha TV's program To The Point at 10 p.m. tonight. For now, let's take a look at the excerpts.
Former Union Minister Arif Mohammad Khan says that strict provisions are necessary to stop the practice of anti-triple talaq. And in this regard, he questioned the conduct of the opposition parties who displayed one stand in the Lok Sabha and an equally opposite stance in Rajya Sabha.
They are not even saying that these leaders assured that they will sympathetically consider the viewpoint of the Personal Law Board. It is, as far as this text is concerned of the press release which has been issued by All India Personal Law Board, it is clear as if Personal Law Board is dictating to these parties what line they have to take.
Arif Mohammad Khan, who resigned from the Congress while opposing Rajiv Gandhi's government in Shah Bano case, also said that BJP is justified in seeking 3-year jail term to culprit.
I think more deterrent this provision is, more successfully it will stop the incidents of triple talaq.
In the Shah Bano case, the Supreme Court had awarded alimony to her, but the Rajiv Gandhi government reversed the judgment by bringing a bill in the parliament. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Landslides are predictable, preventable and controllable, provided you have the scientific bent of mind in looking at it. We talk about prediction of those landslides which are every year occurring. It's the water pressures, the poor drainage, which is the cause of slide. India must have its own agreed standardized, uniform classification system, methodologies of hazard mapping and all that. Without it, we can't understand anything.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Rajendra Kumar Bhandari, Chairman, Forum for Disaster Mitigation at India National Academy of Engineers, New Delhi, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, BJP President Amit Shah on Wednesday raised the pitch for the party's campaign in Karnataka, addressing the BJP's Nava Karnataka Nirmana Parivartana Yatre at Chitradurga in the state. Shah launched a scathing attack on the Congress and accused it of slowing down development and rampant corruption. Shah alleged that the Siddaramaiah government in the state is doing vote bank politics. He said it has deprived the people of Karnataka from getting crores of rupees meant for their welfare. The BJP president also interacted with party delegates of northern and southern part of Karnataka unit in Bengaluru. The term of the President Assembly will end in May this year. The Congress returned to power on May 13, 2013, winning the Assembly polls. The BJP's goal this time is Mission 150 or winning 150 seats of the state's 224 seats.
ये कांग्रेस सरकार अब इसकी उल्टी गिनती शुरू हो गई है, उल्टी गिनती शुरू। मित्रों, जब से कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार बनी, कर्नाटक का विकास थमा हुआ है। भ्रष्टाचार ने इस सरकार का कनेक्शन जनता के विकास से काट दिया है। जिस प्रकार से सरकार चल रही है, मुझे विश्वास है मित्रों कि ये सरकार कर्नाटक का विकास नहीं कर सकती।
Meanwhile, the Bar Council of India has asked all lawyers turned MPs, MLAs or MLCs whether or not they should be barred from practicing law as long as they hold on to their posts. If they are barred, the decision could have far-reaching implications on the political careers of many top politicians. Senior lawyers turned politicians like Kapil Sibal, P. Chidambaram and Abhishek Manu Singhvi from the Congress and many in the BJP and other parties have been asked to respond to the BCI notice within a week. The final decision will be taken on January 22nd. Here's a quick look at what else is making news across the country in our segment Nationwide. The Supreme Court on Wednesday sought the centre's response on a plea seeking an SIT probe into the murder of author M.M. Kalburgi. The plea was filed by Kalburgi's wife Uma Devi. The petition demanded a coordinated probe in the killings of Kalburgi, Govind Pansare and Narendra Dabholkar as the circumstances surrounding them were the same. The Supreme Court has asked the centre and state governments to respond to the plea within 6 weeks. Kalburgi was killed in 2015 in Karnataka. One person was killed and at least 5 others injured on Wednesday when a stampede broke out during the army recruitment drive in Rohtash district of Bihar. The incident took place around 3 a.m. when the aspirants tried to rush into BMP ground through the police lines gate to take part in a run. The recruitment drive has been going on for the last 5 days. The Supreme Court on Wednesday asked realty company JP Associates Limited to deposit 125 crore rupees by January 25th in connection with a multi-crore debt case. Failing the same, the JL officials could face jail, the top court added. The amount would make a part of 2,000 crore rupees, which the infrastructure company has to deposit with the SC's registry in order to refund money of home buyers of JL. The Supreme Court on Wednesday said that it would constitute a fresh 3-member SIT to monitor probe into 1986 anti-Sikh riot case that followed the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira in 1984. It also asked Centre to suggest names for its consideration and appointment in the proposed probe team. The committee will be headed by a former High Court judge. SC said that the supervisory body appointed by it has found that out of 241 cases, 186 cases were closed without investigation. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy on Wednesday tabled a bill proposing to double the monthly salary and other allowances for MLAs in the State Assembly. Meanwhile, the bus strike by the transporters entered 7th day as they are demanding better wages for themselves. However, the state government has refused to accept their demands. Well, moving on to some international news. Now, South Korean President Moon Jae-in has expressed his willingness to any form of a meeting, including a summit with North Korea's under right conditions. This comes as the international community welcomed an agreement for Pyongyang to send its athletes to the Winter Olympics in the south. He also emphasized that denuclearizing the Korean peninsula is an aim that cannot be abandoned. Moon also credited the US President Donald Trump for helping to spark the first inter-Korean talks in more than 2 years. The games in Pyeongchang next month have long been overshadowed by geopolitical tensions, with the North launching missiles capable of reaching the US mainland in recent months and detonating by far its most powerful nuclear device to date. But Pyongyang, which boycotted the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul on Tuesday, agreed to send athletes and officials to the event as North and South held their first formal talks for 2 years at Panmunjom in the demilitarized zone.
북한과의 대화가 시작되긴 했지만 이 북핵 문제가 해결된 것이 아니기 때문에 한국은 국제사회와 제재에 대해서는 보조를 함께 맞춰 나갈 것입니다. 일단 우리로서 할 수 있는 것은 남북관계 개선을 위한 이 북한의 대화를 통해서 북한이 비핵화를 위한 대화로도 나서도록.
Well, let's now take a look at some more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. At least 13 people died and thousands fled from their homes in Southern California after a powerful rainstorm triggered flash floods and mudslides. The mudslide toppled trees and demolished cars, covered blocks of quiet residential neighborhoods with a thick layer of mud. Authorities have rescued at least 50 people in the Montecito area, while some 163 people were taken to the hospital. A US-based exploration firm is set to resume the search for the missing Malaysian Airlines MH370 in a bid to resolve one of the world's greatest aviation mysteries. Flight MH370 carrying 239 people disappeared en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in March 2014. Australia, China and Malaysia ended their search without any result in January last year. Investigators believe someone may have deliberately switched off the transponder of the Boeing 777 before diverting it over the Indian Ocean. French President Emmanuel Macron has said that a contract with China for 184 Airbus A320 jets will be finalized soon. Macron also said that France too had ambitions to sell A350 and A380 planes to China in the coming weeks or months. While no deal has been finalized during the current official visit, Macron said China had assured him that it would respect market share parity between Airbus and Boeing. Well, let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some news from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Anchal Thakur has made history by winning India's first ever international medal in skiing in Turkey. Anchal won bronze in the slalom race category in the coveted Alpine Edger Cup. which was organized by Federation International Ski Race. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Anchal for her win. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said that the entire nation is elated over her historic accomplishment at the competition in Turkey. India's swing bowler Bhuvneshwar Kumar has jumped 8 places to his career best 22 in the latest ICC ranking following his impressive show in the first test against South Africa. In the batsmen's ranking, Indian skipper Virat Kohli lost the second spot to England's Joe Root, slipping to the third position. The MCC World Cricket Committee has urged the Board of Control for Cricket in India to back the bid to have the sport included in the Olympics. Former cricket players Ricky Ponting, Mike Gatting, Kumar Sangakkara and John Stevenson discussed the game's return to the Olympics in Sydney. Cricket was last played at the Olympics in 1900 Paris Games. After the MCC committee meetings, the former players urged the BCCI to reconsider its stance for the benefit of the sport as a whole. Well, that's it on this newscast, but do stay tuned for the big picture coming up on the other side of this short break.